both boats at full speed, it's neck and neck. These boats locked together. He cannot believe what has happened. No room! Balls of spray barreling down the line.
As they're coming on the inside, Barkow burying the bounce. I think there's contact between the rack and the pole.
Hello and welcome to day number 4 of the GKSS Match Cup, Sweden third stop on the World Match Racing Tour. We are live here in the grandstands, racing set to begin in just a few minutes, and so far 5 teams have qualified into the quarterfinals. Today we determine the final 3 who will move on into the competition. Hi, I'm your host Tucker Thompson, along with 2-time match racing world champion Simon Shaw. And Simon, yesterday we saw some exciting action, including some matches that kept us guessing right to the very end.
I mean, 3 of the teams going 3-0. Jan Guichard, David Gilmore and Chris Steele really cleaning out their competition. We had 2 real bloodbaths of battle as well. PJ Posma just making it through against Torvar Mirsky, and then keeping us guessing right to the end. Nicholas Stackhammer up against Matt Jerwood, with the Swede just going through on the final match.
In fact, in that final match, he was behind the whole way, then he found a way to catch up, much to the delight of the hometown crowd. Here's a look at the highlights from yesterday's racing.
A sensational day of match racing here in Marstrand. First saw Harry Price first taking out Eric Monin from Switzerland, and then Walker to see him claim the final spot in the Super 16 round.
Here we go, Simon. The gun is off, but the boats are not. Price doing a good job. Super 16 final qualifying round. First blood to Harry Price.
Then it was the turn of the Super 16 eliminations, with Jan Guichard, David Gilmore and Chris Steele all securing their place in the quarterfinals 3-0.
Now, he doesn't have room to go inside. He'll try and roll over the top. Guichard says no, penalty on that call. Johnny Berntson's hopes to stay in this regatta. He almost had Steele, but it's not to be. 3-0 over Berntsson is Chris Steele from New Zealand.
PJ Posma and Sailing Team NL have come on light years since their debut back in Perth on the World Match Racing Tour. Today came up against Torvar Mirsky. Sailing out of their skin, they came round the veteran Australian to take that match 3-1. Suddenly going to get very close very quickly. Posma looking for the cross, and he is across. Posma turning down, taking the applause of the crowd as he turns down underneath the castle to confirm his place through into the quarterfinals. The final race out on the course today saw Nicholas Stackhammer of Essex Racing up against Matt Jerwood from Redline Racing. It was an absolute bloodbath of a match, with neither skipper giving way and the scores ending up tied 2-2, going into a final crunch match out on the water. Matt Jerwood bringing his bow down now, and Nicholas Stackhammer caught head to wind. Disaster has struck the Swede in a must-win match. Stackhammer bringing his bow down as well, and it's going to be very close between these two, both boats coming together. And we have that lead change. Matt Jerwood has lost the lead, and somehow, from somewhere, Nicholas Stackhammer has used that Swedish energy pulsing through the veins of Marstrand to find a way back round and into this race.
This is Nicholas Stackhammer and crew sealing the deal over Matt Jerwood, 3-2 to move on into the quarterfinals of the GKSS Match Cup Sweden.
With 3 more matches of the Super 16 round still to go, and some of the biggest names in the competition still to push off from the dock, the stage is now set for some incredible action moving forward here in Marstrand.
And so that brings us to today, and Simon, talk us through some of the matchups.
Well, Ian Williams up against Nevin Snow, and actually Nevin taking that first match against Price. So, you know, that's going to be really interesting to see how the 6-time World Match Racing champion responds. And then Nevin Snow up against Phil Robertson. That's actually happening in its first match behind us now, and actually Nevin Snow's ahead. So neither of those 2 matches running to form. And then, of course, we have, well, local favourite Mons Homburg up against Taylor Canfield from US1, and I think that promises to be a sensational match as well.
We could see some giant slayers here this afternoon in Marstrand. Now, I know this morning you had a chance to walk the docks and catch up with some of the sailors.
Down onto the dock, and we're getting ready for action. I'm here with Mons Homburg and your team, and we're going out to race against Taylor Canfield today in the Super 16. You guys all set?
Yeah, we feel really ready. I think it's going to be a fantastic day. A lot of people on the cliffs. We're looking forward to it.
And obviously a big match, and with this the second regatta and all the pressure of being here in Sweden. We just saw your old man maybe give you a couple of words of advice. You discussed this all at dinner last night?
Yeah, we had a big discussion yesterday. Looked some of the racing from yesterday as well and discussed through that. But I think the pressure is on Taylor today. I think we're just going to have a lot of positive energy from the people on the crowd, so we're looking forward to it. And
Hoggy, you've been here in Marstrand quite a few times, and do you feel that home advantage can really work for you guys today?
Yeah, of course. Especially with Magnus as our coach here, we had a long, good debrief yesterday about we have the same wind direction as yesterday, and we saw a lot of consistent things you could do to improve during the day, and it's a lot of passing lanes out there with the shifty breeze. So we're looking forward to this.
So we got a shifty breeze, but we got a little bit more breeze as well. Do you think that plays to your guys' advantage?
Yeah. Obviously. I mean, we've seen Taylor and the guys, they've been struggling a bit with the maneuvers in the heavy breeze, and we have been doing a lot more training than they have, so it's going to be fun to see them screw up maybe.
Well, I mean, that's certainly a smackdown. So, listen, you guys park next to each other, you're going to be out there racing together, and, everyone at home, I think, certainly up in the castle, there'll be a lot of people cheering for you. So, listen, good luck out there on the water, guys. I'm going to pop across now onto US1 sailing. So we'll just come over, have a chat to Taylor Canfield. So Mons was just saying over there he felt maybe your moves in the breeze, having not done as much practice, may not be as good. I mean, what does US1 have to say about that?
Oh, extremely confident in the guys I'm sailing with, and I think we're ready for anything. 25 knots, 2 knots, bring it on.
And it definitely feels like the breeze is a little bit up. Your experienced match racer, just going out there into an eliminator, what are you thinking in that first race? Is it let them have it, or is it slowly let it all build up?
No, I don't think we have to do anything that special. I think if we go out there and sail well and get the crew work down and everything, the communication on point, I think we're gonna have no trouble. If we just get off the line even, and we should be able to sail away.
Great stuff. And Hayden, great to be here in Sweden. Coming up against a Swede in Sweden is often a little bit, you can hear that crowd kind of cheering on the other guy. Does that ever get under your skin?
No, I mean, we've been here for, many years now, and I think we've built up a nice little sort of fan base, here in Sweden ourselves. Obviously it's always nice to, we have a very friendly sort of rivalry with the Swedish guys, as we have with, Bjorn and Johnny and those sort of, guys for a long time. So, we're happy, and like Taylor said, we're just going to go out there and, get back into the groove, and, we feel pretty confident here in Marstrand.
And you guys have had a couple of days off, or nearly a day and a half of gap between, last sailing and now. What did you do over the last couple of days to try and keep your energies up and keep your focus?
Yeah, obviously you can get quite stagnant pretty quickly. We had a couple of gym sessions yesterday. Plenty of stretching, bit of time in the swimming pool. Just sort of, trying to sort of have a bit of fun as well. After all, that's it's important to make sure the team's having fun while we're here. But we kind of woke up and ate well, slept well, and some light training, just to sort of keep the blood flowing through the body, and that kind of helps with the day off.
And so, US1 is ready. You're gonna take this one?
We're very focused. I think that after last year, there's definitely, redemption, is on our mind. We felt like we sailed pretty well last year and fell short. We learned a lot. We took away a lot from last year, and we just have to be focused and sail, each round as it comes to us, and look at our opponent and kind of analyse, and learn from every single race and every round that we sort of get through, so.
Well, listen, good luck out there on the water. We are getting ready to get underway for racing.
And that brings us to today. Simon Shaw looking out on the water. The breeze is filling in here in Marstrand. Racing, as you know, is already underway in a couple of the matches, and we've seen a few upsets already.
I mean, there's been some shifts around. Phil Robertson actually coming back in his match against Nevin Snow, but Williams, you know, he got kind of cleaned out, so it'll be interesting to see how Harry Price deals with that as he goes forwards, whether he's able to keep hold of that momentum or whether we'll see the champion bounce back. The weather, well, we've got a little bit more breeze out on the race course, a bit more consistent, but it's still rolling over the top of the islands, down onto the racetrack, and you know what? It's going to be a very tricky, shifty course for the tacticians out there on the water.
And the schedule this afternoon, it's first to win 3, best of 5. As I mentioned in the open, we've got 5 teams that are already determined. We're looking for these final 3 here. And you know what? The first surprise that we've seen so far is Ian Williams. You figured he would have gone through comfortably. He already lost his first match. You've raced a lot with him. What does that mean psychologically?
I mean, I think we'll see him bounce back. He knows how to win. He knows how to sail. But you know what it really shows us is that Price is good. He's a good little sailor, and we're going to see plenty more from him. Now, one of the matchups that we have coming up out there on the race course is, of course, Mons Homburg up against the might of Taylor Canfield. I know, Tucker, you had a chance to catch up with them just before the race.
I did, yeah. And you know what? What was interesting is that Taylor Canfield said he's beaten a few Swedish teams locally here before, and he doesn't want to upset the local crowd here. But having said that, he's a winner, he's a competitor, so he obviously wants to go on. And Mons Homburg, with his father watching here in the hometown crowd, I know that he's going to want to get a lot of support. And he actually seemed very confident to Taylor Canfield. He said, look, we're the hometown team, we're the younger guys, we've been practicing for this, so we could see some giant slayers here this afternoon. So once again, 5 teams have been determined. These will be the final 3 that'll move on. Then we'll have a press conference afterwards, and we'd like to invite everybody here to join us live on the main stage for the press conference. You get a chance to hear from the sailors themselves.
Well, I know one of those matchups, Tucker, you were able to catch up with Mons Homburg and Taylor Canfield down on the dock.
Not only will he be tough to beat, but you realize he's got the support of the hometown crowd. You don't want to upset everybody here in Marstrand, do you?
Probably one of the worst feelings in the world, losing to a Swede here in Marstrand. We've done it before, but not this week.
Mons, when you look at a guy like Taylor, you consider his record and his experience. How do you approach a competitor as good as Taylor?
I think we're just going to go out there and battle as hard as we can, and we're going to try to win this thing.
Well, there you have it, Taylor. So if you do, you'll knock off one of the best guys in the business. If you do, you might upset everybody here in Sweden. So the only thing I can say is good luck. And Taylor, watch out. We'll see how it goes on the water. So here we go, back out on the water. We're going to see Taylor Canfield and Mons Homburg in their match. And Simon, I think we've got some pre-start signals underway. Talk us through the race course that we're racing on here.
Well, we're going to see the boats enter at the 2-minute gun. 1 above, 1 below the committee boat. We've got 3 minutes 40 to go. Taylor Canfield, I think, will be entering on the underside. And then we'll be locked into that pre-start battle. At 2 minutes of sailing before the teams far off that start line, along a top reach, round through that top gate, down onto the run, jibing downwind, and then around in between and then either side of those 2 bottom marks, and then back on to the upwind, back up to the green marks at the top of the racetrack. 2 laps of that, and then reaching off towards the finish line right here in front of the grandstand.
Now, Simon, Taylor Canfield has been a former match racing world champion. He's also been world ranked #1 multiple times. Then you've got Mons Homburg, young gun. He's been training in these boats, so I know you hate it when I do this, but you know the giant slayer Harry Price came out and beat Ian Williams, and also Snow almost beat Phil Robertson. So what do you think Mons Homburg's chances are of taking a race or 2 or even 3 off of Canfield?
I mean, I think this is a battle of head and heart. You know, for me, Taylor Canfield, he has the pedigree, the experience, if you like, to most likely kind of close this match out. you know, my head says 3-1, but actually, you know what? Having spoken to them down on the dot, it really felt like Måns Holmberg had like a focus and intensity. You know, the pressure was off his shoulders, and you know what? I think if he could rattle Taylor early, we could see an upset. If Taylor Canfield finds his stride, I think he's going to kind of march right over the top. But, you know, really out there, anything can happen. Well, here we go. The boats are in and rolling down and round the top.
That is Taylor Canfield in the green, Måns Holmberg in yellow. 2-minute gun has already gone off and the boats have entered the box.
Well, Canfield in the windward position now, looking to try and fight his way down, drive Måns Holmberg down into the starting area. Holmberg there just with a little bit of an S, just trying to manage his speed down towards the line of orange buoys. That's the exclusion zone, which will come into play. Both boats through the jibe. Måns Holmberg leading back now towards the leeward exclusion zone. Canfield just hanging back, looking to keep the separation. 1:09 to go. Driving back towards the line. 1 minute now on the clock. Canfield already bow up towards the committee boat. Måns Holmberg bow up as well. It looks like Canfield trying to start in that windward position.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't want to engage. He's pretty hands-off so far.
But we'll see. This is about acceleration. It's about timing back to the line. And it is about trying to progress through from this Super 16 round into the quarterfinals. Canfield now brings his bow down, diving down towards the line of Måns Holmberg in the yellow. The American looking to attack the Swede. As Holmberg responds, brings his bow down in the yellow boat, looking to accelerate down. Now both boats back up head to wind. 17 seconds and the speed starting to build on both boats now. Canfield in the green, just advancing forward a little over the top of the line of Måns Holmberg. Final 8, and the both boats really starting to build now, and Canfield the first to pull the trigger, now rolling over the top of Måns Holmberg. Holmberg now responding, bringing his bow down, but as the starting gun sounds, it looks to me like the better of the start, slightly to Canfield in the windward position.
Can he get to mark number 1 on the inside and hold off Taylor Canfield? It looks as though he's done it. Simultaneous deploys. Oh, look at that! Måns Holmberg almost putting it in. He could go over. He could go over. He's gone. Holmberg has capsized.
Wow, what a start to the show here, and not the start that the Swede was looking for. He has ditched it into the drink on Mark 1. Disaster strikes. Now, we're actually joined in the studio by Chris Steele. Now, Chris, you're already through to the quarterfinals. Now, if you're Måns Holmberg, that's not the start that you'd be looking for.
No, absolutely not, Simon. And you know, the second time this week that Måns has tipped it in. So, you know, they did a really nice job of holding that overlap coming to the first mark, and they just pushed a little bit too hard with the deploy. Got caught with the Jenica out, big puff, and the boat went over. So, yeah, not a great start there.
I mean, that's absolutely not what he's looking for. Taylor Canfield really, I suppose, a dream start for him. He gets to kind of bank a point and just reset. I think we should see the umpires step in, black flag Måns Holmberg. Now, what we can tell you is that the days of the capsize being anything bad are long gone. That boat will be back up in a nickety split jiffet and then off racing again.
Yeah, it should be ready in the next sort of 10 minutes. So definitely by the time it comes around to these guys racing again, Måns and the boys will be ready to go. So the biggest win there is for Taylor Canfield's crew, who won't have to physically do any work in this race. They get the point nice and early, and they'll regroup and get ready to go again.
Now, Chris, psychologically, talk us through that. You know, Simon and I both had a chance to interview Taylor and Måns this morning, and Simon and I both had the same observation. Måns was very confident, very calm, and he felt like the pressure was on Taylor. Was that a bit of gamesmanship? Do you think the pressure got to him in this first match?
I'd certainly not need gamesmanship. It's definitely, you know, Taylor Canfield being the big name, the pressure's certainly on him because everyone expects him to win. For a team like Måns and the rest of the guys that are coming through that are a younger age, any chance they get to race against guys like Taylor, you know, it's an awesome opportunity. And if you can take a win or two, or even, you know, knock the other guy out, it does a massive amount of good, you know, positive things for your sailing. So this is an opportunity for Mons, and hopefully he can get it sorted and you know, get a couple of wins and get right back in the match.
Well, in order to beat someone like Taylor Canfield, you first have to keep your boat upright, quite obviously. So they're working on that now. Obviously, first point goes to Canfield. How do you regroup from an accident like this?
Well, firstly, you got to get the boat up, right? Obviously, it's a bit of an exercise here. The guy's actually just pulling it up right now. So the main thing is the sailing team's got to try and regroup as soon as they can. You know, as soon as that mast is up in the air, they should go for a sail and just check that everything's still working right and there's no damage to the boat. And then the guys have just got to mentally get back in it. I think they're down 2-0 now, so there's a lot of pressure on them now to come back and win 3 straight races if they're going to advance. For Canfield, it's very much try keep your guys warm, because it is cold out there, and when you're not racing, the guys will start to really freeze up. So you got to keep your muscles loose and try and stay as warm as you can. The boat's coming up now.
Yeah, so tell us exactly how they did that. How does one right a catamaran when it's capsized?
Well, we actually used the sail to help lift the boat back upright. So the support boat there, the service guys were towing the boat towards the right-hand side of the race course, and they're just using the sail, trying to harness the wind to get underneath that sail and lift the boat back upright. And you know, as we can see, doesn't look like there's any damage, and in the next 10 minutes, these guys will be ready to go again.
Ready to go again. Well, we are ready to go again as well. We're going to give Mons Holmberg and crew a few minutes to sort of regroup and double check that their boat is okay, all their systems are working, and they get back into their pre-start preparation. And we're going to get back into the start of race number 3 between Holmberg and Canfield in just a few minutes. So far, very exciting early on in this first race of our live broadcast. And just letting everybody know, we'd like to welcome you around the world live on Facebook and on WMRT.com.
Yeah, and you know, you can also keep track with us on Twitter at WorldMRT and on Instagram /World Match Racing Tour. Well, I can tell you, while Mons Holmberg was out there on the water trying to write a bit of a capsize, we were writing a bit of a digital capsize in the studio. We had absolutely no power for that whole time, but we now have this whole thing broken back into life. The monitor's back going, the commentary decks are working, and you know, we are all set for, I think, what is going to be a sensational afternoon of match racing here in Marstrand. And you know, you can already see the rocks, the footpaths, the grandstand, the VIP area, the whole castle starting to come alive. And wow, you know, the capsize, the drama, it is all poised to be an incredible afternoon, Tucker.
Simon, I'm surprised that I was wondering if you were going to go there, admitting to the world, who probably didn't realize that we lost all information and all input and all power here in the live broadcast booth. And yet racing still goes on, and the show must go on, as they say, right?
Absolutely. You know, and you know, I tell you what a team we have here at Red Handed, just rewiring the whole world just to get us all back going again. And you know, a big thank you to Chris Steele to step in there and just give us a little bit of wisdom about, you know, writing those capsizes. And you know, I remember right at the start of the M32s when we had those capsize videos, it was all a bit of a big deal, you know. And now the boats kind of go over and everyone's like, yeah, you know, we'll just flip the thing back up and we just carry on racing. And, you know, I think that's really testimony to the versatility, the strength and the integrity of this M32 platform.
Absolutely.
And why it's so suited to this combative match racing action.
And now the big question is how Mons Holmberg will respond. Not only to a loss, because Taylor Canfield gets that point, but to the big shakeup that a capsize certainly causes on board. These guys are pros. They're at the top of their game. So it is very likely that Holmberg will be just fine coming into this next match. But I also wonder if he's going to be a little bit more aggressive, considering the points are now a little bit stacked against him. Now, Simon, what is our next start, our next match that's coming up soon?
Well, I'm still kind of just waiting on that information. It should be coming through to me in a second. I was actually, you know what, I was just looking at a little bit of a video. Now, if you are following us on Facebook, you'll see we just put this amazing clip of the capsize up. So just go and find that, and you can see that crew just falling off. We'll see if we can bring you that back in the studio. Absolutely fantastic. You know, and yeah, we're ready to see that action right now on the screen.
So here it comes, Simon.
So here we go.
Into Mark 1.
This is Mons Homburg on the inside, if you like, looking to try and deploy, and he brings that sheet on, brings the bow down, and then a huge little gust pump. Now watch the crew up on the windward side. The boat comes right up, right, and he's holding on. He's trying to hold on to that shroud. Then the rack falls in, and he's smashed bang. I mean, that is going to hurt. He's going to have a couple of sore ribs in the morning.
Certainly will.
Bouncing.
Was that Mons?
I think it was the Mons Homburg, yeah. So the rack folding up, and the Mons Homburg just crashing in.
We call that a rack attack. That looked a bit painful there. Good thing everybody's okay. Safety, obviously paramount here in the World Match Racing Tour. We're going to, in a couple minutes, give you an update on the start of the next match, which I believe might be Ian Williams again and Harry Price. We've also got, yeah, it will be. And then we've got Nevin Snow against Phil Robertson. And then finally, we'll see Camfield and Mons Homburg have another chance at, well, staying upright, first of all, and then going head-to-head in this match race as the GKSS Match Cup Sweden continues live here in Marstrand. Once again, I'm Tucker Thompson, joined by Simon Shaw, and these are the best in the business in match racing worldwide. And of course, Simon, you've been to this venue many times. What a spectacular amphitheater we have here in Marstrand.
I mean, absolutely incredible racetrack here. You know, the stadium-style sailing that is really evolved into this modern era is so suited to this environment. And you know what? To look forward to this next match, Ian Williams 0 down against Harry Price. And it'll be really interesting to see how Ian Williams responds here. Definitely under pressure. We talk a lot about the sort of tone and the temperament of Ian Williams as he sort of comes into a race like this. And, you know, it's important to be fired up, to if you like, have enough sort of mental energy. And I just wonder if he didn't quite have the focus and the intensity, if you like, coming into this match. Well, I'm sure they'll have had a bit of a chat on board. But, you know, Harry Price sailing really out of his skin here.
And Ian Williams, you know, he seems to be a bit bipolar this year. He's often so strong, so consistent, and worked so hard at his match racing in the past. I know you've raced with Ian many times, but he either comes into Australia and finishes last, or then he goes to Congressional Cup and finishes first. So what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, you know, I don't think we'd quite call him the, you know, the Artemis Racing of the World Match Race Tour. It's, you know, we're not quite there, but you know, I think match racing is a bit like that. You know, when you have your momentum behind you, when you have your skills finally honed and you're on top of your game, you're going to be almost unstoppable. And similarly, when things aren't working out, your timing's off, your boat handling's out, your crew's not firing all cylinders, you know, you can be knocked over like a kind of, you know, a set of 9 pins. So it really does depend on that really the nature of the sport. But, you know, in terms of how he responds, it's going to be now.
Right.
And 2 minutes 30 to go, and you know the action about to unfold right in front of us.
So speaking of right now and right in front of us, it is Harry Price in orange. He's going to be to leeward at this start in 20 seconds. Ian Williams to windward there, left of screen in the blue boat. 15 seconds before the entry period, the 2-minute signal to the start when the boats jostle back and forth for position before pulling the trigger into the line. Here we go. Just to leeward. Price is a bit early. He's going to slow down and stop his speed. Meanwhile, Williams will pick up speed. Bang, there's the 2-minute gun, and we're off in the pre-start.
Got underway. Williams in the light blue, rolling around the front of Harry Price. Price looking to try and box Williams out to that right-hand side, and looks to have a nice bit of a lock actually going on there, and the wind definitely building here in Marstrand today. You can see really Harry Price riding that breeze across. Williams unable to get a jibe in. A great start so far from Price. Williams actually coming up into the tack, and Price deciding to circle down.
Minute and 30 seconds to go. Price setting up for the leeward position, and Williams just waiting it out to windward.
Well, round he goes. Price driving Williams up into that starting box. Both boats now bow down as Price looks to try and close up the gauge. Here he comes back across to Williams, looking to re-engage, try and catch him out with a bit of a luff.
Williams looking to break the overlap, get over the top. 1 minute to go to the start.
Well, he's managed to roll around the front, and he's managed, crucially, Williams, to get that pair sailing back away from the start line. And that's, if you like, as the lead boat, what you're really looking to achieve. And now turning back up, looking to manage that lead follow. 45 seconds to go. Williams S-ing up and down in front of the line of Harry Price. Both boats still reasonably near the line, but not progressing back yet. Price needs to really turn up, try and drive the game back towards the start line now. 30 seconds.
Into attack. Has he tacked all the way?
Yeah, and Williams straight into the match. Knows that if he can match the timing of that tack with Harry Price, he'll be strong. Both boats now on port, and the ascendancy firmly with Williams as Price looks for the tack back. Williams tacks hard underneath. Final 14 seconds, and the boat's getting very close between the two. Williams in the leeward position, looking to try and close down the gauge between the two, and now leading the acceleration away. And he's going to leave Harry Price standing in the pre-start. He's also inflicted a penalty on Price in the pre-start. And so as the gun sounds, it is Ian Williams' start.
Beautiful job for Ian Williams, not only winning the start, but handing Harry Price a pre-start penalty. Now there goes the penalty. He is behind, and we are off, but not before Ian Williams accelerates away from the line and from Price, well in the lead into mark number 1. Now the big question, Simon, the deploy. Is it going to be conservative? Nope. Early, and he rounds full bore and heads downwind, hull up in the air, and we are off. Look at Ian Williams go. And Simon, look at how short this race course is. One jibe and he's into the leeward marks. Here it comes.
Well, turning down straight into the turn. Ian Williams leading this pair back down towards the bottom, and Price really just following. Very little option. Williams now leading down, going for the furl, looking to take the right hand to the 2 marks as we look out from the shore.
And that begs the question to Price. Will he jibe and split? And he does, about 3 lengths behind. Williams off to the right in the lead. Price will split.
So Price with his rounding. Took him a little while to get around that mark. Williams already threw his tack up on that far right-hand side. Price continuing along to that left-hand exclusion zone, but we'll see him tack. And there, the big tack. Both boats coming back together, but we have seen that right-hand side prove strong.
And has Williams made a gain in on that side? It looks like he has. So now Price up against the ropes. He won the first match, and he's playing catch-up in this one as Williams heads for the top mark in what is a very compressed and short race course in this wind direction.
Now, we've seen this before, that bottom right and the top left, there being gains potentially out there on the racetrack. Williams really taking both of those, heading off to that left-hand side. Price really looking to take the opposite. I think that's his best opportunity to try and strike back, if you will. Williams goes through the tack. Now, underneath the island, just at the top there, if you do go left, you've got to make sure you get a good tack. Can be a bit lighter for the turn. Williams making it out of that sort of A-OK, and I think on ley line for the right-hand top gate.
And making it look easy. So Ian Williams, top mark. Right-hand turn as he looks downwind, still out in front over Harry Price. Beautiful set.
Well, Williams coming down. Harry Price coming in at the top. His turn for his rounding. And Price around and going for the jibe set right up at the top. Sailing away. Nice move from him. Down at the bottom. Williams really lit up. Sailing on starboard jibe down towards the bottom gate. Doing a nice job of sailing low. Both boats really low and fast. Price actually breaking back a little bit in this race, coming down this final run. Price absolutely screaming down the run towards Williams, who has another jibe to make. It's going to be quite a lot of boat handling for Williams here, an opportunity for Price to try and close up the gauge. Williams is going to match him on the rounding, I think. Both boats lightly heading for that right-hand turn. Williams around first.
Big breeze on from behind. Price reels Williams in, now within less than 4 boat lengths between the two, and Price will split to the left again.
Well, good decision to jibe there. I really like what Price did on that run. Really kept it tight. Nice job of closing up, and still now within striking distance.
He's lifted, he's in breeze, he had a good rounding. You just almost wonder if Price is on the attack and that the momentum might be shifting his way. Simon, he's headed into more breeze.
Well, he's heading into breeze. He's got to make a tack, and I think he's a bit lifted at the moment, so he'd probably rather not tack at the exclusion, but tacking up and through. Needs to make this a goodie, and it is.
Yeah,
nice
beautiful.
tack from Price. Coming out the left-hand side, flying the hull straight out of the tack.
And will he get a piece of Ian Williams now? Has he made a gain? The answer is yes. And Williams responds.
Now Williams looking for a close tack. This is going to be tricky. Williams tacking onto the line of Price, who comes down with his bow down, looking to try and get inside. No. He's having to tack away, but only a length or two between the boats there. As Price breaks back to that left-hand side. That's what happens when you string some good moves together. Price picking up a good gust down the run, having a great rounding, a super tack, and already right back into this match, Marstrand style, out there on the race course. And we have a big split. Williams now with his tack up on the right-hand side. As Price comes down towards the exclusion zone, it looks like Price in a little bit of lighter pressure on the left at the moment.
And
we'll
Ian
see
Williams,
when they come back
from
together.
The right. Yep. Price on the offensive, trying to reel Ian Williams in. This leg 5 of 7, one more lap to go. And the question is, has Price reeled Ian Williams in enough to attack on the next run? Keep the game close.
Oh, big time. Williams coming in with the tack on the line of Price. Price is going to be coming in fast, I think, right at his stern. The boats are going to be locked horns down this run. Williams leading around the mark, but only by a boat length. As newcomer to the World Match Racing Tour, Harry Price turns round and onto the tail of the 6-time match racing world champion here in the home of match racing in Marstrand, the jewel in the crown of the World Match Racing Tour. And Price already starting to attack, looking to bring his bow down just inside the line, ready to pounce the moment Williams goes through his jibe.
And here it comes. Williams will jibe first. Price responds immediately. Williams might be leading this match, but Price is making him work for it.
Well, this is where Williams' experience kicking in, going nicely. He's on a soaked lay line for that bottom gate. It makes it very difficult for Price to attack. Remember, this leg 6 or 7, just the dash to the finish once they make it down to the gate. And Price looking for the roll, but Williams there, I think he's going to make it down to the 2-length zone. He will then own the zone, and that should give him some opportunities. Price brings his brow down, but Williams, he's like a brick wall there, blocking the mark, blocking the turn, and Price really just going to be forced to follow him around as Williams turns up, just pointing to the finish now. Price so close and yet so far, but Williams not really shooting his Jenniker on.
Something is wrong with Williams' Jenniker. He's going to put it away. Can Price roll over the top? The finish line just 5 boat lengths ahead. Price is coming on strong from the top. Can Williams hold him off? Williams puts his bow down, heads for home for the finish, and Ian Williams has got the race.
Wow, what a result here. Williams, I mean, he didn't make that easy. That was very close at the end, but that decision, it's all about the placement on that lay line, the position where he jibed on a soaked lay line for the 2-length zone. Absolutely awesome, awesome sailing. And, you know, Chris Steele joining us in the booth, thank you. You're obviously through into that quarterfinals. Sit here comfortably watching the racing from the shore in this one. And, you know, that race looked real close.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Harry's doing a really good job. You know, got off the line a little bit behind, but did a really good job around the racetrack of closing that one up. And you know, to be that close at the finish line is something that's pretty hard to do when you start a race like that. So it's they're obviously sailing the boat really well, and it actually look like the tacks they're gaining quite a lot on Ian. So it's going to be an exciting matchup.
Well, look here we can have the replay, the pre-start penalty there. Williams just tacking underneath the line of Price. I think the umpire's deciding he just got too close, just backing his Jenniker a little bit too much, and Williams really leading off the line with that penalty advantage.
Yeah, it's quite a tricky situation, Simon, because Harry had all the rights going into that situation as it unfolded, as the leeward boat, you know, rolling into attack, and with Ian tacking right underneath him, you go from being a right-of-way boat to a giveaway boat very quickly, and it all comes back to the umpires to decide, you know, at what point did the boats make it onto starboard, and did he give him enough time to get the tack in? And obviously in that situation they ruled that Harry hadn't given Ian enough room, and that's what the penalty was for.
Well, then it was close up the beat. And then right at the top, Price breaking back, coming in from that left-hand side. Williams looking to try and block. And again, we see that match racing strategy from Williams, looking to tack to try and match the mark of Price. who ended up following him round. But Price doing a nice job of his boat handling, great snap, great speed right out of the top mark. He's obviously having to work his height into that mark, so a great acceleration from Price. And then here for me, it was all about that jibe, the jibe angle for Williams, where he made the decision to come down. He just got to a good, solid soak lay line. And then ultimately, Price so fast all the way in, but really Williams just blocking it all the way into the line. So there, Williams really leading through and taking that match to 1-1 apiece out there on the racetrack.
Well, we've got Ian Williams down on the water, Simon, ready for an interview. Let's hear from him.
So Ian Williams, I mean, what a sensational match. It really looked like it got very close right towards the end.
I wonder if he can hear us. I don't think he can out there. There's some technical issues, so we'll try to get Ian Williams back in a minute. Love to hear from him, considering how close that match was in the end. And Simon, one thing that you mentioned, having raced a lot with him, is that he shows his experience, how comfortable he is to throw in that extra tack or make a maneuver that allows the other boat close, but positionally he still protects himself, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was jibing on, it was a soak lay line, really real smart sailing from Williams.
Okay, so now we're going to go back out on the water. 2-minute signal has already gotten underway, and I believe we're looking at Nevin Snow against Phil Robertson. And there it is. So Snow is going to be in the blue boat, Phil Robertson in the orange. So that's Phil Robertson leading into the pre-start.
But we saw this race being really close in the previous match. So the scoreline not quite telling the story. Snow has done a solid job against Robertson.
Coming up on 1 minute to the start, and both boats heading back to the line. So there it is, 1 minute to go till the start. Off on the right of screen, Phil Robertson just waiting for Nevin Snow, who's comfortable to wait up to windward now. At 50 seconds, Snow puts his bow down.
Well, Robertson looking to try and keep it tight, bringing his bow down, looking to try and follow Snow down, drive him back towards the line. Final 30 seconds, Snow really needs to win this one if he's going to keep his hopes of the GKSS Match Cup Sweden alive, leading this pair back. Robertson content really just to push at the moment.
So Snow is early, and here comes Robertson on the attack.
Robertson bringing his bow down, looking to try and generate a bit of a hook. He's going to get underneath, I think. No. Robertson now right locked on the stern of Snow, perhaps just a tiny bit above, and both boats very early, but they're almost both parked and they're a little bit caught up on the line. It's a competition really to race, to build, and I think Robertson's got a little bit fouled up. There may well even have been contact there. Robertson into the wind, really left standing. We'll see whether the umpires get involved, but at the moment it is Snow who had to win this match up against the ropes that has come out swinging, and he is leading off the line now along the top reach and left the 2016 match race champion standing in the pre-start.
You know, live by the sword, die by it. Now, have they hooked the pin? Is it stuck behind them? No, very lucky, just comes off the rudder, but not before Snow has a 10 boat length advantage. He leads at Mark 1.
Well,
now,
that's a good text for
Robertson
Snow.
do?
You know, you have a world champion right hot on your heels. There's a lot of experience on board that New Zealand boat.
And it's only one jibe and into the leeward gates in this very compressed racetrack here in Marstrand, the south entrance to the Marstrand Fjord. And so Robertson immediately jibes as well. Not sure if he's going to be on lay line, an aggressive decision there, but Snow is, and the race still belongs to him. He'll round the right-hand mark. You know, one thing we've seen all day yesterday, Simon, so many of these matches had distances like this or even bigger, and yet the trailing boat finds a way to come from behind, catch up, and even win these matches. No surprise, a split-up win.
So splitting off to the left-hand side, Robertson looking to try and break back up on the top right-hand side. Rob Snow really tacking to cover this pair back across.
Right-hand side looks good. Phil Robertson trying to make something happen, however, from the left. It is Snow's match to lose at this point. So leg 3 of 7, approaching the halfway mark. Phil Robertson, world champion, and he won here in Marstrand last year. He certainly knows these waters better than most, and he's looking for an opportunity to pounce and get back in the match from the far right-hand corner. Snow, upper left-hand corner, and Simon, as you said in the Williams match, lower right looks good, that's where he went. Upper left looks good, that's where he is.
Well, through his tack over on that left-hand side into the top gate. Snow looks to have kept his cool, kept his composure. Now leading Robertson. Coming in towards the top gate. Robertson is on the right-hand side. Maybe Snow a little bit slow here. So Robertson has maybe closed up. Robertson, I think, on the ley line as Snow comes around the right-hand mark, unfurls his Jenica.
And if Robertson can make the ley line for this top mark, it'll be a massive gain. However, I'm not sure. It looks close. Has he got it?
Robertson is around on that left-hand side, but you know, you can start to see the puffs and the holes out on the race course starting to open up. Snow actually jibing a little down pressure in the center of the race course.
Robertson in a lull. He'll jibe underneath the hole, but he's got a big puff of breeze on his bow. But not before Snow catches a puff of his own and extends downwind. But here comes Robertson, finally bringing the heat.
Well, it is coming back and it is getting closer. Leg 4 of 7. We'll see one more jibe here from Snow as he sets up for the bottom gate. Expect we'll see him take that same right-hand mark.
Just look at Robertson, though, coming in from behind. He is reeling Snow in, putting Snow under pressure.
And round he goes, and you know what? Snow's given away a bit of distance there. Robertson going for the jibe, coming in on the bottom gate. Jenica coming back out.
Robertson has definitely made a gain within 4 boat lengths now. It was half of a length on that last leg. So Robertson on the attack. He'll round the left-hand gate, heading upwind, chasing Snow, who rolls immediately into attack.
So through the tack up on the right-hand side. Snow still has control of this match. A good test for him. Leg 5 of 7, so just up to the top, down to the bottom, and the reach to go. Snow fighting to stay in the competition. A must-win match for him. Robertson just needs to take one of the next 3, picking up a little bit of a left-hand puff there. And Snow, interestingly, looking to tack on top.
That
risky move from the American.
Very risky. Is it going to pay off? Very much like Ian Williams' tactics. He's comfortable to spend some distance to position himself on top of Robertson. And by being that close, that shows you he's nervous at Robertson's charge. Phil Robertson is catching up, and Snow knows it.
Well, there, the second tack from Snow onto the line of Robertson. Needs to make sure he builds out of this tack.
I don't know. That could be it. Robertson could be slipping through Snow's grasp right here.
Well, I think that Snow should be sort of out or close to ley line. Robertson definitely not. So we'll see one more tack from Robertson, and that's where Snow, if you like, can stick the knife in and tack right on his line.
So that'll be bad news for Robertson, but the good news is it's a short distance into the top mark. So he'll only have to sail in Snow's dirty air for a short amount of time. He's tacked up on his windward hip, just trying to keep his air clear enough into the marks. This will be the final turn downwind.
Interesting tactics there from Snow. It actually kind of worked out for him, forcing Robertson to do that extra tack. I thought he had an opportunity really to try and minimize his number of tacks, maybe do one less than Robertson. Instead, he elected to keep the match close, go for a bit of a cover. Robertson, this is what he wants to see.
Oh no,
looping
big trouble.
Up the top mark
Robertson
on the rack.
Dragging the mark downwind, just what he didn't need on the final run. And that's got to all but hand the race to Snow, don't you think?
I think this is Snow's race now, leading down this run. He's still got Robertson not too far behind, but he's out in front. Robertson through his turn.
Well, Robertson's hit the pin, he's hit the top mark. The bottom mark's the only thing he hasn't hit, but he's got one more chance at it coming up. Sounds like a NASCAR movie I've seen. Hit the pace car. Phil Robertson. Hey, look, he's already won 2. He's got a chance to try and come back. But all credit to Nevin Snow from the United States for what will be his first victory here in the quarterfinals. So Nevin Snow, one final puff, one final sprint, and the final reach to the finish to take his first victory. And he can hear you guys on shore, the crowds in the grandstand. This is where stadium sailing comes into effect. Give a big round of applause for your race winner, Nevin Snow.
I mean, you know what? That was a must-win race, and he made it must-win. Really attacked that pre-start, put Robertson under pressure. Great job there. And then again around the race course, he knew when to be expansive, and then again when to really attack the race. And in that final stages of that last upwind leg, he really kind of put the knife to him, changed tactics, became a lot more aggressive with the cover. And, you know, it was, you know, really, really first-class work.
And there's Phil Robertson with some reflecting to do. He didn't hit the leeward mark. You got to give him at least credit and look at the positive.
And Chris Steele, we got you up in the studio again, and you know, Michael working. Can you just with that race, you know, when you're coming into one of those must-win situations, you know, what's it like on board when you're the skipper trying to respond?
Well, you've got to try and make something happen, really, and I think Nevin did that obviously at the start. It was very, very close between the two boats. There might have even been contact, I'm not sure, but he got Phil really down speed and slow and created an opportunity, and then you got to give credit to him for converting that around the racetrack, especially considering, you know, Phil got back into that race, and at one point the two boats were, you know, very much close together, but Nevin tacked on top of him and put a cover on, and that was enough to, you know, sail away at the win.
And, you know, in terms of Phil Robertson, you know, your countryman out there, you know, world champion in 2016, what did you think of how he was sailing out there on the water?
Yeah, there was obviously a couple of mistakes in that race, you know, catching firstly the start mark and then the top mark, and you know, we're watching this match up very carefully because I believe we face the winner of this match in the next round. So, you know, I think, you know, it's always easy from the commentary booth back here, Shawsey, to see people making mistakes. I can tell you it's a lot harder on the water, obviously, but yeah, we're definitely having a look to see who's doing what, and I think the good thing is it proves that everyone's beatable.
Well, we'll see if that'll happen. Now, let's relive that race, Simon. We've got a replay teed up so we can go back and find out where it all went wrong for Robertson and right for Snow.
So here we can see that start. Robertson looking to try and generate a little bit of a hook, but I think both boats very close to that being thin on lay, particularly Robertson on the inside. Now, I think as he brings his bow down here, Snow does a nice job, and I think Robertson actually almost looking for the penalty, trying to sell the penalty, bringing a big luff up, and once he'd wasted all that, if you like, energy trying to turn his boat up in those final few seconds, he really paid the price for it, and it was Nevin Snow leading away on that top reach.
And here's where Robertson was closing in on him.
So in and around, that really a ley line issue for Snow. He did almost an extra jibe, 2 jibes down that run, and Robertson able to really capitalize that and close right back up in that race course. And then after there, Snow rounding that right mark with some great defensive sailing on the last beat. Robertson then coming in on the mark, and he He drops a little bit out of frame here, but you can actually see that big gust.
Ooh.
And that just caused that leeward rack to dive into the water, and they hooked that up a beauty, sending a crewman down there just to try and throw off the anchor, literally throwing the anchors out of the top. But you know what? The damage was already done at that point. Nevin Snow sailed a great race. It was really him that won that for me, not Phil Robertson that lost it. And Robertson actually, you know, doing some nice jobs attacking. When you've got a world champion nipping at your heels like that, to respond like Snow did in that race, absolutely first class.
I'll tell you what, you wouldn't want to be a World Match Racing Tour mark with Phil Robertson on the race course, would you? And speaking of Phil Robertson, we've got him down on the water, teed up for an interview so we can hear from him after 2 race wins and what must be a frustrating loss. Phil Robertson.
So Phil, we're out onto the water with you, buddy, looking out at 2-1 and what looked like a race where the marks, you seem slightly attracted to the start one and that top one.
Yeah, you know, it was a bit of an interesting race, that one. We probably, to put it bluntly, sailed like a bucket of spinners, but you know, we hashed the start up and got a bit stuck there and gave him a massive lead, but managed to do a ride around the course to crawl back into the race, really, and yeah, just hooked the last top mark, and it's a bit not really the sharpest move on my behalf, but especially when we identified at the race before that we're probably just cutting the corners a bit fine. So yeah, not a pretty race from us, and obviously Nevin sailed a pretty good one himself.
Well, I mean, it looked like a great race, and, you know, nice to see new guys coming onto the tour and with such a high level. You know, it feels like, I mean, you're obviously the 2016 champion. Seems like a lot of these new guys on the block are sailing pretty well.
Yeah, they're sailing really well. We knew we weren't going to have an easy walk in the park this morning, and here we are, we're 2-1 up, so still in quite a strong position, and we're going to have to fight really hard to make it through to the next round. And yeah, they're good. The young guys are getting better, and they're getting a lot of time in the boats. And I guess that's sort of one thing as a tour card holder, you sort of backed up against the wall when you turn up to these events, because these guys have all qualified, and we're sort of coming in fresh. So yeah, it's not an easy position to be in, but hey, they're getting good, and that's what we want in the sport.
Yeah, Phil, Chris Steele here, mate. We just we've noted that you hit the start mark, you hit the top mark, and got stuck on both of them. The only mark you didn't hit was the bottom mark. You know, what's going on there? How are the boys responding to going around the cans, not through them?
Yeah, Chris, we've been watching you lately, mate, and taking a leaf out of your book, so just hooking them all, buddy.
All right, boy, go get it.
Well, there, the words of Phil Robertson, such a gentleman, a real funny man actually in the booth. Great having, you know, skippers up here in the commentary, and obviously some amazing personalities all across the World Match Racing Tour. And Phil Robertson, a real gentleman and a champion.
So back out on the water for the next start. Signals are underway. We'll give you an update on exactly how much time and who we're going to see. Taylor Canfield, Ian Williams against Harry Price. So Price given another opportunity to stay upright and try to take a match again off of Williams. Oh no, I got confused there. The capsize was in the Canfield match. So Williams 1-1 against Harry Price. Pre-start coming up. That 4-minute flag will come down. 3-minute flag will go up, and a minute later from that, there it is, we'll have the 2-minute entry period. It's going to be Williams in blue and Price in red.
You know, obviously Price taking that first match, but Williams responding well in the last race. And then Price really losing that second one. Williams really bouncing back. So for me, whoever takes this next one will sort of snatch back the momentum, if you like, in this Super 16 sail-off.
Yeah, absolutely, Shawsy. This is a really important match because whoever gets the win here goes to match point and sets himself up for sudden death in the next one. So Ian will be pushing hard to try and get a win here, otherwise the pressure's going to build up pretty quickly.
So here we go. 2 minutes to go. It'll be Williams on the leeward end of the committee boat. He's a bit slow. He's going to have to go down speed into the start. Meanwhile, up to full pace and probably a little bit late is Harry Price. There's the 2-minute signal, and we're underway in the pre-start of race 3. Williams to Leward, just closing gauge a little bit. Price looking to go around the outside, but Williams is going to accelerate, hook him to Leward on port, and try to keep him from jibing and getting back towards the line. Good
and it's
move.
an interesting, we've seen this play a couple of times today, and actually throughout Marstrand, actually the boats on entry instantaneously getting overlaps, if you like, that windward boat getting locked by the leeward boat. We've seen different strategies, well, both out in the America's Cup over the previous month of boats coming, if you like, down deep or looking to enter late as that in that windward position.
Price deploying here, trying to get down back into the box. Both boats ending up really high in the start line, so this is advantage to Williams with the setup so far. But look for Price to be the aggressor and try and drive Williams back to the line.
Price looking to bring his bow down over the line of Williams. Williams looking, if you like, to re-shut him out on that right-hand side in the light blue, coming now in from behind. Price turning his bow up as Williams brings his bow down, looking to try and go for a dive. Williams with a circle away, and he's looking, I think, for what you'd call a late circle now, just tacking up, trying to get that separation. As Price comes up for his tack, we'll see Williams, I'm sure, instantaneously tack as well. Now, Price, does he have time to tack and tang back and not be hooked by Williams? It's going to be very close. Williams bringing his bow down now, looking to build speed. Price coming in for his tack. Will Williams be able to get underneath the line of Price? It's going to be very close. I think Williams is going to get a piece of him here. Superior execution. I think he really understood the move. Price now looking to try and roll, but he's a bit early. Williams bringing his bow up. Final few seconds, Williams with the acceleration, absolutely bang on the line and on the pin. I mean, absolutely great start from both boats there. I think both boats a little lower in the pre-start box than I was expecting. But Williams, first class with the execution of the final 6-7 seconds of that start.
Yeah, it was a very unconventional pre-start, and both guys actually did a really good job to get a start there. I thought Price, you know, was in a tricky position, and he actually executed a couple of really nice tacks to set that start up, and he wasn't far off getting it over at Williams. But right as we see now, Price jiving on top of Ian Williams and rolling over the top here. Is he going to be able to build enough to get the jibe in for the bottom gate? Because I don't think they're laying.
Beautiful move for Price. Now, does he get into the zone first? Yes, he'll get the jibe in. We've had a lead change, but only just. Both boats basically dead even. Overlap coming into the leeward marks. Price will jibe to take the right, and that leaves Ian Williams' bow even to the left.
I mean, you got to ask yourself, where did this Harry Price guy come from? He's out there sailing out of his skin. You know, coming into the regatta, I was flicking through the crew sheets and I was like, wow, a new guy. But you know what, going out into a Super 16 round, you wouldn't expect to see him there toe-to-toe with a 6-time match racing world champion.
And you'd have to assume that Ian Williams is thinking the same thing right now.
Well, I mean, great to see these new guys breaking onto the tour. And listen, they are absolutely toe-to-toe here. Price coming out that right-hand side in the red boat. Williams coming out of the left in the blue. When they meet, Price will have the right of way, and he looks to have a half-decent shift over on that right-hand side. Both boats bow to bow, coming back together. Williams looking for the cross at the moment, but I'm not sure he's going to get it. And Price is barreling down, coming out of the right-hand side. And he's held on to the lead. Price actually crossing the line of Williams. And so it is game on in this Super 16 round now. The 6-time champion back behind the line of the newcomer Harry Price, who now tacks to try and shadow Williams over to that right-hand side.
I really like the tacks of Harry here. He's definitely got an advantage in his tacks, and he's just taking the game to Ian Williams. You know, he's splitting at the bottom marks and creating opportunities up the race course. And then when he gets in front, he's, you know, sticking his elbows out and trying to make that boat as wide as he can to make it hard for Ian Williams. You know, he's not giving him anything. So this is shaping up to be a real beaut.
And here comes Williams with the tack on to starboard. He's got the rights. Will he have a piece of Price? Price looks like he's going to try and tack in front and to leeward. Now, can he get up to speed, or will Williams roll? At this stage, Williams retakes the match upwind.
So Williams back across the line of Price. So we have another lead change. We're on leg 3. We've had 3 lead changes. This is the World Match Racing Tour.
3 more legs to go, and if things stay as they are, we'll have 3 more lead changes. Williams in the odd
is going to
position.
here.
You think so? He'll do a jibe set? Yes. And Williams responds with an immediate jibe. Now, can Price get over Williams' bow, or will Ian Williams keep his air clear forward?
I like Price's positioning here, picking up a nice shift and already up to speed, and really swift work with the sheet on the Jenica, getting that Turkish Airlines Jenica drawing really quickly. Williams has responded well, now matching, if anything, sailing a little bit lower and faster. We're coming up towards that exclusion zone on the right-hand side, towards the ley line. Price bringing his bow down and through the jibe. Williams looking to sail a little bit further now. Will Price be able to make it down? If he can make it down to the gate here, he will have made a bit of an advantage, having jibed earlier than Williams.
And a slow jibe for Ian Williams as well. Puff agrees to Price, looking to reel Williams in, get the overlap, and try to get inside. Not sure if he's going to make it. Williams will be ahead, taking the left-hand gate.
But game on, he gives away the right. Harry Price is going to go around that left-hand turn, going upwind. It looks to me like there's better pressure there as well. So this is very much race on. Harry Price going to come back with right of way, the starboard tack. And Ian Williams is going to have to be able to cross clear ahead, otherwise we're going to see a lead change.
So Williams up against the ropes with the newcomer, Harry Price, giving him a run for his money. Halfway up leg 5 of 7, just one final downwind to go. Here comes the tack, and as you say, Price from the right, in good pressure. Williams is going to have to make something dramatic happen here.
Well, I've got a bit of a question for you, Chris, just to watch in the next couple of tacks of Price. I've got a feeling that Price might actually be backing the windward sheet on the Jenica out of the tacks. We often see them leading with a little bit of a show, but it seems like that back just is having more of an effect. He's holding it longer.
Yeah, absolutely sure that he is, and that tack right there is the result of what you see on the screen. He's come back from the right-hand side, and we've got a lead change. Harry Price back in front. Almost the same situation as the last upwind. He tacks to stay with Ian Williams. He needs to be a little bit further ahead than he was last time round to make the maneuver stick.
This time Williams tacks immediately, not letting Price get up to full speed and try and tack under him. And that has Price extending to the right, Williams accelerating into the middle of the racetrack.
It's going to be really interesting at the top of the course here, because Harry Price is set up to go around that left-hand top mark. Ian Williams is going to set up to go around the right-hand top mark. So we're seeing Price a couple of times do the jibe set maneuver, and I think he'll do the same to put himself back in phase with Ian Williams, which shuts down the passing lanes. It all comes back to who gets this pressure first at the top of the course, though. We're seeing it looks like Ian Williams has made a gain. Harry Price is coming back with right of way, but Ian Williams is laying and Harry Price is not. So this is going to be another lead change. Ian Williams is going to cross ahead.
Williams, no rights under the rules while he's inside, but he is crossing from that left-hand side, and he will take the right-hand gate looking upwind from left to right on the screen, as you say. And Price in a bit of trouble trying to make it up to the mark. He's hit it, which is legal, as long as he doesn't hook it and take it downwind. Either way, Ian Williams is heading downwind out in front.
Well, Price just taking too long there, trying to be almost a bit too greedy, looking to try and lay a mark that he really wasn't laying, and it's cost him, well, he didn't really have any good options, but he needed to lay that really to stay in that race. And I think
the only thing he's got going from
10 lengths.
He's got the separation, and so that does create some opportunity. I don't think he's close enough, but if he can get some pressure here, the separation might be able to give him an opportunity to get back in the race.
Pressure off to the far left-hand side, but it's outside the exclusion zone, and Price has already jibed. Back into the middle, crossing Ian Williams behind. Williams has made a gain.
Well, Williams there really, I mean, this has been really both skippers sailing superb matches here, but ultimately, when the music stops, it's been Ian Williams that has been out in front. He will take this match up to 2-1 as he comes down and around the bottom gate, pointing along towards the finish line. Harry Price really sailing out of his skin on that last upwind, but just not quite able to string it together at the top. Williams somehow finding a way past.
This is the second time we've seen Williams jibe onto starboard and have trouble with that Jenica sheet, so they're just going to roll it up. They've got enough of a lead to head across the finish line and take this race to go 2 up over Harry Price. Let him hear you, ladies and gentlemen. The race goes to 6-time world champion Ian Williams.
So Price there sailing a superb race, coming down and through the line. And I don't think this Super 16 round completely done and dusted here. We may well see Price respond. I'd love to see Price respond. And I tell you what, we're going to see a lot more from him as this World Match Racing Tour continues all around the world in 2017.
Yeah, absolutely, Shawsy. This match is far from done. You know, Harry Price taking the lead, both of those upwinds, and sort of made the mistake twice, although it did plan out a little bit differently. You've got to back yourself sometimes to go the right way and get the pressure. And, you know, when he tacked on top of Ian Williams that second beat, he actually tacked away from where the wind was going to fill in first, and that's what gave the race to Ian Williams.
So here the replay of the start. Williams there just getting underneath the lines. And then able just to pull the trigger that tiny bit quicker. And then we're going to come down to that bottom mark. This where Price diving for the inside. Williams jibing on top, and we actually see Price jibe back and get the split, but superb execution. That's a difficult maneuver there. Two jibes that close, and then the rounding, and Price getting it absolutely inch perfect, rounding evenly and heading off to the right-hand side. That ultimately gave Price an advantage into the next cross. But then in at the top, Williams with the tack. Price looking to tack underneath, and Williams actually ending up rolling. So not such a good tack there from Price. We can see there that characteristic Jenica staying out and instantaneously into a back, which I think giving him the edge in some of those tacks. You often see people go for a bit of an unfurl, but what he's actually doing is backing it into the tack, I think.
I think he holds it out longer as well. He seems to back it for a little bit longer than the other boats, and maybe that just helps get the boat to the build angle and get the speed back up and running before, you know, he has to think about doing another manoeuvre. We've seen him do that jibe set manoeuvre a lot at the top mark as well, but this was the real issue with, you know, being short on the lay line there. Basically gave him no option. He had to try and lay that mark. Got really slow in doing so, and yeah, unfortunately just wasn't able to convert what was a strong position halfway up that upwind.
And then down to the bottom, it was really the Ian Williams show. He's around the bottom gate. Jenica just being furled away. And then across the line, all cool, calm and under control. And looking strong, moving through into the next race.
So Ian Williams takes a valuable point to Price. And we're going to go down in the water to hear from Ian Williams, which we believe he's ready for us this time. Let's try it, Simon.
So down onto the water with Ian Williams. Ian, you know, firstly, a really entertaining match. I mean, it was lead changes galore. What's going on out there on the water?
Oh, I wish I knew. I'm just head down trying to get the boat around the course as fast as possible. It's obviously pretty shifty and gusty, hard to control a race, but we're very happy to be 2-1 up.
And, you know, Harry Price in his first World Match Racing Tour regatta, I mean, he's sailing like he's been doing this for the last 5 years. Real solid contender. You know, the young guy looks to be giving you a real push.
Oh, absolutely. Harry and his team, they're sailing extremely well, so we need to keep our level up. We probably need to keep improving to seal this one out.
Good luck in the next one, 2-1, and, you know, I think we're all secretly hoping it stays exciting.
Thanks, Shawsy.
So Canfield leading back towards the start. Mons Homburg looking to try and roll, bringing his bow down, and he's across just. Look at that, very close between the two boats. Homburg now turning back up in the yellow. So aggressive sailing from Homburg. He knows he's going to have to try and bring it. Taylor Canfield in the Woodward position, 50 seconds to go. And Homburg really throwing chance to the win there, rolling around the top of Canfield, and now potentially has the US Virgin Dialer locked to that right-hand side. Certainly trying to edge his boat as far forward as he possibly can. Canfield trying to respond, potentially rolling around the front. Final 28 seconds to go.
The aggression we expected to see from Homburg.
And Canfield edging forward. I think he's got the gap now to just do a little bit of an acceleration. Mons will be on the inside. It's going to be really a slingshot star. Whichever pulls off the acceleration better is going to be able to go. And Canfield starting to build now in the Woodward position, but has he gone too early? It's going to be very close.
All clear, Canfield, beautiful job, but Mons Homburg is right in there. Overlap to leeward as we reach into mark number 1. It is a deep angle Simon right-hand shift, and that's going to advantage Canfield to windward as he looks to try and roll Mons Homburg. Homburg just trying to keep that overlap, trying to get into the mark before Canfield, but I believe mark 1 will belong to Taylor Canfield.
Well, that Jenica coming out and Canfield rolling around that top mark. Can see Mons there just in his rear view mirror, unfurling his Jenica on the stern. This a critical moment, this jibe. Canfield's got to have to time it exactly right. Mons Homburg turning down into the turn. Who can do the better boat handling? Homburg looking to try and get over the top of Taylor Canfield. But Canfield, rock solid there. Looking to defend, still leading this pair down. As Homburg looks to try now and make the inside a bit of a wake from the umpire boat as Mons Homburg turns down. Taylor Canfield with a small soak to make it down, and we'll have a split at the bottom.
It's a beautiful job there in that jibe. Canfield actually was beaten to the jibe a little bit by Homburg, but able to hold on, keep his air clear, and now round the right-hand gate, about a length and a half over Homburg, who will go left.
Well, a great split. Homburg with every chance of breaking back here. Wind actually a little bit in the left-hand side, so should, I think, make it pretty much evens between these two marks. Canfield with his tack. And now building nicely.
So it's Canfield from the right with starboard tack advantage, and in a different shift, Mons Homburg was just lifted way up. There it is again, a huge left-hand shift. And Canfield doesn't have it. He's in a righty, so two different breezes on the course. Which one will pay off as the two teams converge?
So coming back from the left, Homburg, having had a good rounding, I think is going to be very close on the tail of Canfield. I think Canfield's still crossing. A little bit of a dip perhaps from Mans.
It's a big game for Mons Homburg. He's right back in it with that shift. The interesting thing is the next shift's probably going to be a right-hand wind shift, which again will advantage Mons Homburg. Is now on the right-hand side. Canfield with not a great tack, and he might not be laying that top gate. So big opportunity here for Mons and the Swedish team to get back in this and try and take the lead.
Well, bringing his bow up on the inside, Mons Homburg looking to try and lay. Remember, he is 2-0 down here, so this is must-win for Swedish sailor Mons Homburg. And he's trying to put the squeeze on.
Massive lefty, Shawsey. That's a big opportunity. Mons gets up and actually lays the top mark. So this could be a new wind direction starting to clock around the left-hand side. The Swedish team out in front. Here he goes.
But what a beautiful job. Early set and rolling right into a jibe. Taylor Canfield. Homburg rolls into a jibe as well. There's likely a penalty there from Homburg. We'll see what happens. It is bow to bow, dead even. Canfield has trouble with his Jenniker, but he's on top of Homburg's breeze. Here comes the umpire's green flag. No penalty.
Canfield is not on top. Canfield is being bunched up. He is up against the ropes. Homburg there coming underneath him, controlling that situation all the way through, dominating the US team. And Sweden now out in front in this match.
What a move for Homburg. That big left-hand shift got him back in the match, and now he's gotten the better of Canfield after that rounding. Canfield, big trouble with his Jenniker. Now he's finally up to speed on port, but not laying the bottom marks.
Homburg now in the lead, leading this pair down towards the bottom gate.
Be right turn here, I think.
Cool, calm, and under control.
It's going to be a split here at the bottom mark. We're going to see Taylor Canfield jibe towards the spectators here on the shore and take this other gate. We did see big left-hand shifts in that last beat. If Taylor Canfield can find one of them, he'll get this lead back. Mons Holmberg hoping for a right-hand wind shift going the other way.
I don't like the mark of Canfield there. For me, Mons definitely taking the better of the two gates, and he was on ley line as well, and Canfield was actually soaking down to the ley line for that same mark, so he still had a lot of extra distance to take that opposite mark.
Stand by, guys.
And he looks a little bit low now.
Late jibe also when he had to put his Jenniker away, so that had him soaking without the Jenniker to help him with speed. Now he'll tack exclusion zone onto port.
Wasn't a good tack either. Canfield really slowing, and because of this left-hand wind shift, he actually had to tack a lot earlier on because of the boundary there. So again, another advantage here to Mons Holmberg, the Swedish team, coming from the right-hand side of the racecourse. Maybe look to see him try and tack in front of Canfield here and put himself in phase with the opponent.
Well, Canfield close to the ley. Mons would be having a good think about that coming into the top. That's where he made the advantage laying up in the first place. I don't think Canfield laying, and I think Mons there, if you like, taking the gamble of trying to get up to the ley line, not covering Canfield.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, when you're racing someone like Taylor, who's very experienced, that's the right way to go about it. You've got to be a little bit more expansive, and we saw Mons get that slightly wrong in the last match, a little bit too expansive and capsize the boat, but this time around he's sailing the boat really nicely and he's got a lead, so I think he's doing everything right so far. A lot of it comes down to which is the next wind shift.
Two different wind shifts on that last beat. Big left-hander, that's what we saw Holmberg gain from, but sometimes a lot of it is off outside the exclusion zone. Meanwhile, far right, you can get some breeze, but not Canfield at this point, not able to convert from the right as Mons Holmberg tacks in front and is still in the lead, rounding the mark for the final downwind run.
And it's much closer than I thought. Sean Mance would have wanted to lay that mark, but not quite making it now. Having to tack in front, and it's opened up the door to Canfield to get onto the stern of Mons Holmberg. It's now very close between these two. Canfield with the coming in on the stern of Mons Holmberg. He's coming underneath. There's a bit of a luff going on. Mons Holmberg now turning down into the jibe. Canfield jibing on top. Whoever wins this move is going to be controlling this race. And Canfield looking to roll over the front. A big luff from Mons Holmberg. Very close between the two boats, but Canfield just edging out in front. Mons Holmberg really fighting to try and stay in this competition. He must win this match, but Canfield sneaking in from behind at that top. Mons Holmberg not laying the top mark, and now it is Mons Holmberg fighting for his position in the GKSS Match Cup Sweden. He's behind, down but not out as they go through the final jibes. Canfield looks to jibe to shadow as well.
It's a good jibe for Canfield. However, he's going to soak down the ley line. Mons Holmberg accelerates up to full speed in a puff, but he is not going to make it down into the mark, so the advantage goes to Canfield.
Well, Canfield is going to have to try and soak. I think it's almost going to be a full jibe for Mons. No, he doesn't. He just brings his bow down. But Taylor Canfield turning up onto the finish. And if you like, he has the tip of his dagger piercing the heart of Mons Holmberg here. Swedish hopes and dreams going up in flames.
And there it is, folks. Coming from behind in an impressive performance, Taylor Canfield and Team US1 will go into the quarterfinals 3-0 over Mons Holmberg.
Well, there you have it. Mons Holmberg sailed extremely well in that match, but the top of that beat just not making out. I think if he'd laid that top mark, and he certainly takes a worthy applause here from the crowd here underneath the castle.
Okay, we're going to go to a replay of that race, and let's take a look at how it all went down. Here we go, Simon, into the start.
Well, there, Canfield, they're pulling the trigger. Dominant position in the pre-start, but Mons did a nice job in the leeward spot. He didn't quite live until the mark, but Canfield there just holding on in the pre-start. Taylor Canfield, I think, thought he wasn't going to make it, so a better ley line.
I don't think anyone thought he was going to make it. It was a massive lefty.
And there he got that rounding.
Mons Holmberg, it actually looked like he wasn't going to get it.
And round he comes at the top. Mons Holmberg out in front. And then this jibe, Canfield looking to try and, if you like, get over the front, strikes back from behind. But there, that sheet just not coming on US1, and that really allowed Mons Homburg to come back in underneath the line of Canfield, take back the lead. And then we see this, the next absolutely critical top mark. Mons Homburg was in front, but Canfield managing to work back right onto his heels. And there, Mons just a little bit light, a little bit slow. And Canfield picking up a puff and using that really to attack the line of Mons. He takes a bit of a puff there, but he's a bit bound up, a bit slow already, and Canfield moving a bit quicker, turning down into the jibe. But from here, it's all about Taylor Canfield rolling around the front. Great position to try and roll. And then it was the Taylor Canfield show. Down and round and through the finish. Well, out into the water, Taylor Canfield. I mean, we can see, Taylor, all these races seem to be really tight. And, you know, just tell us, what's going on out there on the water? Taylor Canfield, can you hear us in commentary? It doesn't look like it. You can see the blank face. Well, one more try out onto the water with Taylor Canfield. Taylor, look, you can tell he can't hear us. Seriously.
All good, thanks guys. US one out.
Void of boats.
I'm just running back on two.
The pre-start. Getting underway. Farther to the right. All the way. Here it comes, and there they are.
Wowee. Well, that's one way to kind of film across to the pre-start.
Recall yellow, so that means Robertson has won the start and Snow is over early.
Well, that's exactly the start that Robertson would have wanted.
Wow. So now Snow really up against the ropes. Robertson just needs to win this race to move on into the quarterfinals. However, we have seen the trailing boat catch up before. So now that it's over and the penalty is shed, he's only 3 boat lengths behind. Phil Robertson will round ahead with Snow just behind, well within striking distance.
Well, this is the critical moment. This jibe into the bottom. Snow is tight enough to make this decision tricky for Robertson, who's actually riding a nice puff down. Robertson doing a beautiful job there, just extending and scalloping away, using the lift from the boards there to work his way round and through. First class sailing from Robertson, beautifully caressing his boat down and through that jibe. And now you can just see what that kind of boat handling makes you. Now leading around the bottom mark by 3 or 4 boat lengths.
That jibe gained him 2 more valuable lengths to Snow and gets the right-hand side heading upwind, leaving Snow with no option but to go to the left. So heading back upwind. There is breeze to the lower left-hand side. In fact, that lower left worked so good in the last match, we saw a lead change at the top. However, with rights under the rules, Phil Robertson conservatively protecting the right-hand side, and he'll tack on to starboard. Here comes Snow from the left. Better tack though for Robertson, better speed. Here comes the cross. Snow may have made a little bit of a gain there in the last-minute shift, but it is advantage to Phil Robertson crossing from the right.
And we've got both boats on opposite tacks, and quite an opportunity here for the trailing boat to pick up a little bit of breeze on that right-hand side of the course. We've seen that top left-hand side of the racecourse get a little bit light at times. However, the breeze has clocked round to the left, so expect to see Robertson do one tack here and lay that right-hand top gate. Nevin Snow will head out to the right-hand side of the course, tack over and try and lay the left-hand top gate. Both boats going opposite ways on the racecourse.
So there's Robertson, the tack on to port, a good left-hand shift. That'll certainly help him get up to the top mark. Right-hand turn around the right gate as he looks upwind underneath the rocky cliffs here in Marstrand, and that'll leave Snow to tack from the right. So it is a gain to Phil Robertson with that upper left-hand shift that he sniffed out at the end of the beat. Snow also has to sail a little bit extra distance now in a header to get to the opposite mark, while Phil Robertson is just off and launched with the kite up downwind. Not quite the fastest set for Snow either. His team up against the ropes, really having to work to try and get back in this match. We've seen time and time again, though, the trailing boat looks like they're completely down and out, and they get right back in it. Snow will be looking for his moment to pounce. First to win 3 in this best-of-5 knockout round. Snow needs a win to stay in the competition. Robertson needs a win to move on to the quarterfinals. Here he comes, bottom mark. Belongs to Phil Robertson. He'll jibe and take the right.
Snow jibing back onto starboard here, coming to the bottom gate. Phil Robertson opting to do an extra jibe at the bottom there to go around the left-hand gate, which is an interesting call for me. Usually when you're in front by that sort of margin, you minimise manoeuvres and just try and convert the lead that you already have. But Phil doing a jibe and then an early tack there. He obviously likes the right-hand side of the racecourse, Tucker.
He also doesn't want to give Snow too much leverage either way. So banking on that right-hand shift, he'll tack and stay just to windward of Snow, keeping between his man and the next mark, centering up on the course. Robertson has options to go either way now, and he's in a right-hand shift, so everything is going Phil's way. To add insult to injury, Snow will tack down speed in a light spot and face a header when he comes out on port. Other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately for Snow, those boundaries just getting tighter and tighter with this breeze clocking around to the left-hand side of the racecourse, and that means that he doesn't have the same opportunity as he would normally to create separation on the upwind and maybe an opportunity to pass. Breeze is certainly getting lighter at the top of the left-hand side of the racecourse at the moment. Big left-hand wind shift as well, though, so that will mean Phil Robertson should lay this top gate and be able to go around in one manoeuvre, deploy and be on his way to the down at the bottom gate for the last time. Already seeing him put the bows down there now, so he's comfortably laying.
One more downwind run to the final sprint to the finish. Phil Robertson looking to seal the deal and move on into the quarterfinals. And he's around. Beautiful set. There's a reason this guy is the current world champion, and it was right here last year in Marstrand, Sweden. Chris, it's great to have you up here in the commentary booth with us, someone who knows more about sailing than most in these M32s and this tight course match racing, to give us sort of the first-hand experience. But I know you'd rather be out there than up here.
Yeah, well, it's a really nice breeze today, Tucker, and unfortunately the forecast for tomorrow isn't for as much breeze, which I think we prefer. So I believe with Phil winning this race here, that means that we're going to be coming up against him tomorrow in an all Kiwi showdown. So yeah, we're licking our lips and excited at that opportunity to try and take down the man that won here a year ago.
Do you have a nickname?
Steely.
Steely. We've got Phillionaire the Millionaire and Chris Steely Steele. The Kiwi matchup tomorrow. Kiwis did quite well in another big match race recently. And speaking of doing well, Phil Robertson. 1 loss to Nevin Snow, but 3 wins will seal the deal. Phil Robertson will move on into the quarterfinals of the GKSS Match Cup Sweden.
Nevin Snow just coming around the bottom gate now. He's going to fill that code 0 up for the last time, unfortunately exiting this competition today with that 3-1 loss to Phil Robertson and the Robertson Racing team. Big round of applause for Nevin Snow from the USA. Their last time here.
Well done, Nevin. We hope you've enjoyed your time in Sweden. Some of the teams will stick around, keep an eye on what's going on out on the water. And speaking of out on the water, we're immediately into the pre-start, I believe. Although it's tough to see the signals. Do we have a pre-start flag up? No.
Yeah, they're into it. That was the 2-minute countdown.
Okay, folks, so we've got Ian Williams and Harry Price into their pre-start, and the score is 2 races to Williams and 1 to Price. So Williams seals the deal in 1. He'll move on. Price in a must-win situation to stay in this regatta, and I'm not sure.
No, they're not, Doug. Sorry, that was a mistake from me. The guys are just setting up to head back out towards that reach mark where they'll set themselves up for the pre-start entry. Harry Price 2-1 down, looking to try and stay alive here with a win. I like the way they're sailing as well, though. This match is definitely not over. They've had plenty of opportunities in all the races here to convert wins, and they obviously won the first race, so it's definitely not done yet.
So the 4-minute gun coming up. 2-minute entry period. And there it is. Now we've got 4 minutes. The signal flag. So once again, I'm Tucker Thompson, joined by Simon Shaw and Chris Steele, competitor here from New Zealand, looking to move on for his shot. We need to get on this. Okay, we're just a couple minutes away from the pre-start, folks. Sorry for the delay. The best things come to those who wait. And we are under a delay here before the final race, or what could be the final race, rather, between Ian Williams, Harry Price. Williams, 6-time match racing world champion. Didn't have things go his way the last time he sailed here in Marstrand. And then he had a rough start to the 2017 World Match Racing Tour season at the Match Cup Australia. Bounced back at the Congressional Cup in Long Beach, California to win it, to move up in the rankings. And in order to do well in this regatta, he'll have to move on into the quarterfinals and take one more race over Price. Price, meanwhile, has surprised us all, starting out with a win over 6-time match racing world champion Ian Williams. And I think it was you, Simon, who said, where did this guy come from?
I mean, he has sailed.
He certainly made a statement.
Absolutely, you know, fantastically. Been a first-class race. And there, the 4-minute gun.
You know, in some ways in these races, the underdog can have an advantage. They've got nothing to lose, and he came out and just spanked Ian Williams in race number 1, so we know he can win races.
And you know what? He took him all the way in that last one. I mean, it has been some really close matchups out there on the water. And, you know, Price, every single round he's been through so far, he's kind of like raised it up just that tiny little bit.
3 minutes coming up. Both boats sailing well away from the line and setting up for their wind-up into the pre-start entry. This time it will be Price to leeward and Williams to windward. Price in the orange, Ian Williams in the blue. So here we're looking at Harry Price. Williams is way behind and to windward, just setting up for a full speed approach. 47 seconds to go to the start, and he's got about 37 seconds to get to it. Sort of a long-awaited build-up, Simon, to what will be hopefully a very exciting match. 30 seconds to go to the pre-start. Both boats stopping now, killing time. Time on distance is as important in the pre-start, almost as important as it is in the final start. And the wind-up to the line.
I mean, if you know, as a neutral, I think you've got to be cheering for Price here to try and close this up, make for some good racing, take it to 2-2. I mean, the crowd here really enjoying the racing. So final 2 minutes into the entry. Williams now coming in, Price coming in underneath.
Interesting to see how this one matches up. They've had two pretty unconventional pre-starts. The last one, both boats ended up a long way above the start box. And in the first one, they were a long way below it with a couple of late tacks in the piece. So it'll be really, this one's shaping up to be more conventional. Harry Price, the lead boat at the moment in red, jibing onto starboard. Ian Williams with his Jenica deployed, looking to push Price back to the line.
The edge of the rocks here in Marstrand. Price really giving this everything, trying to hold back the 6-time world champion as he now turns up a little back towards the start. Still perhaps 15 or 20 seconds to burn as Price leads Williams.
These two have certainly given us some of the most exciting match racing of the day so far.
And really precise, precision match racing. Williams now bringing his bow down, looking to try and get underneath the line of Price. He throws it up into attack, and Williams dominated the timings of these tacks in the last start. That has really made him a gain, but I think here this time Price having the measure of him, tacking right on top, and he'll tack right back. Williams is going to have no real space to build here as Price comes through his turn, and I think this is going to be all Price's this start, leaving Williams standing, and in the final few seconds Price turns his bow up, and he's just behind the line, and Williams is absolutely locked, impaled, if you like, on the horns of Price.
Price not letting him off the ropes either. Keep blowing, punching him into the ropes, and finally Price will put his bow down. Williams is slow, and the start goes to Price. Penalty flag flew, but there was no penalty. Beautiful job from this young sailor who surprised us all, including Ian Williams, as he leads into Mark 1.
Very impressive work in that pre-start there, Tucker and Simon. Harry having a couple of crew on either side of the boat ready to back that Jenica, so they were able to do those two tacks with no issues, and definitely an advantage for me. No deploy here for Price, so he looks like he's going to jibe set. Ian Williams with an early, oh, he cancelled very late. That's a mistake. He was set up to jibe set and then obviously changed his mind, and now looks like Ian Williams might be able to roll over the top now that the two boats jibe.
Good jibe for Williams.
Well, Williams on the inside looking to try and roll Price, bringing his hammer down now, but Price responding, just air clear around the front so far for Price, who's hanging in there in that lead position. Will Williams be on the inside? Are they going to make it down into the mark? I think Williams is going to get inside. No, Williams now looking to just come round, feather around the same mark. Price around the outside. And Williams did get room at that mark, but Price has the inside overlap. Now can he manage to initiate a luff before they get to the exclusion zone? If Williams can hang in all the way to the exclusion, he will have the control of this race. But if Price can squeeze him off before there into the line, both boats tacking simultaneously. Price on the inside, now the advantage perhaps being handed back to Williams as they accelerate. Both boats with superb tacks. Williams perhaps with slightly quicker build, but Price is going to be under pressure now on the inside all the way across. He really needed to, if you like, try and attack Williams earlier. Just biting back. Williams already trying to put the squeeze on, and Price having to attack away. A little bit of inexperience for me there from Price. He needed to squeeze Williams off before boundary.
Just to try and sail a high mode out of that bottom mark, or actually lead the tack and force Ian to set up on his hip, but he gave away the long tack there, and that's obviously a conversion that Ian's been able to make in this early on in this first beat. Ian tacking to go back to that right-hand side of the course, though, so that might indicate that Price is heading the right way.
Also in a good puff of breeze that we've seen from the middle of the racetrack here. Now both boats, collision course, port starboard.
So coming in from the right-hand side, Price has the starboard advantage and already bow down. Williams tries to respond but cannot get underneath, and Price forces Williams to tack. It was a great move from Price, and he's going to roll around the front, managing to dial up the 6-time world champion, spinning him about, and now with a roll. And Price really has brought his game face to this match. Can he roll? Williams just hanging in so far, and I think maybe close to lay. The top marks might come in to play here. No, both boats under the lay, so Price can just time his tack, and Williams will just be following him into the top.
Yeah, really nice move there from Price. He dialed Ian Williams down nice and early, forced Ian into attack. He wasn't able to get behind Harry Price and the Australian team, so that's a really nice move for the Aussies, and they've taken the lead in this race.
And heading downwind now, it is Price's race to lose. An impressive comeback. Caught Ian Williams off guard a little bit, but Williams only 2 lengths behind with a beautiful set. Is right on his heels.
Well, all game on still here, neck and neck, and both boats turning down in the jibe. It's almost like they're constantly battling the whole way around the racetrack. Harry Price, the world of match racing, are you watching? You have a new star on your hands, and he's come up from Sydney, Australia.
For anyone who thought this was going to be a dead rubber, they're certainly wrong. Harry Price really taking it to Ian Williams and his team. And he's done a lot of training and qualifiers in recent weeks, and that's really showing out there on the water today. The crew work from these guys is looking really, really spectacular.
Well, great little leg from Harry Price there, just getting a nice puff. I just wonder if he might almost be able to make it down to the marks. Not quite, both boats having to jibe. Price, I think, going to go a complete jibe and head off to that right-hand mark. Williams, I'm sure, will jibe here and if you like, take the opposite gate to Price as they both come around almost simultaneously, if you will. Synchronized sailing around the bottom gates.
Price, however, was a little bit slow coming into that mark, and Williams was just flying. So even though Williams had to do another jibe, I think his speed helped him through it. Also, Ian Williams, to my eye, looking like he's getting into some pressure from the left. However, Price has the advantage of the right, so it is game on. Back up win.
Yeah, I do tend to agree with you there, Tucker. The left-hand side of the racecourse does look good right now, but as we've seen time and time again, the boat's having to do that early tack because of the boundary, so that does help Harry Price come back from that right-hand side of the course, and we've seen this situation develop a number of times where Price tacked on top of Ian Williams. See if he does that again, or if he's going to try and learn from that and maybe take the split. So he's in phase with the breeze.
Coming back together, Price looking for the tack on top of Williams. We've seen that a couple of times before. This time it didn't look to me like he had enough distance. Williams coming underneath the line of Harry Price, and Price not quite able to hold on and having to tack right back. So inexperience from Price there.
I think that could have been a big error for Harry Price, having to do 2 tacks like that. Williams came in with speed, and now Williams has the right.
Well, we saw that a green flag, but you know what? Price have been forced to tack away, but all the time, despite making that tactical loss, great tact, great boat handling all the way through. You know what? That should have been a massive loss, but actually it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I think when the boats come back together again, we're going to be back still quite close. I think Williams will just have the advantage. Here we go.
So
it's somewhat an unforced error there for me, Simon. We've seen that situation 3 times in the last 2 races, and each time Harry's made that move, and it's cost him the lead. And, well, once again, that one was even worse. But like you said, he's coming into the top here. Ian's tight on lay. In fact, Ian's going to actually have to tack in front, so this is game on. Price right back in it.
Can he get a piece of Ian Williams? Williams trying to get his boat up to speed, early deploy. He's in at the mark, and Williams is only just ahead as the boats head downwind.
Well, absolutely nip and tuck at the top. Price now, the roles reversed, forced to chase, and this is down the final leg to the finish. And you know what? You have to back Ian Williams to pick this jibe line absolutely bang on, but we'll see. It's all going to come down to this. Williams down and into his jibe. Price jibing on top. Both boats with superb jibes. I think Price has a good opportunity to try to attack, and Williams starting to respond, bringing his bow up, and Harry Price has his bow down. Now Williams buries his bow, picking up a nice gust. Price just skimming the water there, getting absolutely every inch he can out of his M32 as they track down towards the castle here. Both boats will have to do a jibe. I think Williams won't quite lay down.
Here comes Price jibing first. He's going to set up for a second jibe and try to have a go at Williams. In at the mark. Williams crossing just ahead. This is the final turning mark to the finish.
Well, Williams now with his jibe down. As Price turns down into the jibe, it's going to be nip and tuck at the bottom. Williams is going to own that inside gate. He's just going to try and build the wall. We've seen him do it before. Good. And Price coming in on and around the outside. But it is Ian Williams that in the end has had the audacity, had that experience to just quite know how to close it out. And GAC Pindar now pointing at the line.
Harry Price definitely made him work for it, but there's a reason this team is a 6-time world champion. With this 3rd victory, Ian Williams and GAC Pindar will move on into the quarterfinals. And that was a great match.
I mean, Harry Price really sailing out of his skin. Absolutely superb, really. I think, you know, I would completely dip my hat to this young team. Really precise crew work. I mean, it's almost like just doing a little bit of practice, you know, down in Sydney. They've brought a sort of crispness to their sailing and to that M32 that, you know, I haven't seen from a lot of these, you know, the most experienced teams. You know, arriving in your first regatta being that strong is formidable.
Yeah, Harry Price is definitely a name we're going to see more on this tour.
They're only going to get better as well, you know, just buying 2 M32s that they're going to have back down under in Sydney. And you know, what we've seen out there today is those guys have been putting in some work, and that's showing on the way they're sailing the boat. And, you know, they're only going to get better.
Well, they kept us guessing all the way around the racetrack. Lead changes. Certainly Ian Williams, who won, had to work for it. And Simon Shaw, let's relive that race, beginning with the pre-start.
So here in the start, Williams in that windward position. Price looking to try and close it down. And, you know, Price just owned the control throughout this pre-start, managing to stay back from the line. And then really, once he wasn't over, he was able really to dominate that pre-start, turning down. And Williams just forced to follow. Williams did a nice job of not getting stuck. And then here, this is on the pre-start. This is where Price broke back, bringing his bow down really early. Williams with nowhere to go. And then really superb execution, just dialing him down and just coasting through. So not infringing, and able in the end to roll Williams from that right-hand side, take the lead. And then into where Price went for his tack. Now, I think worried about Williams taking the right-hand side, but that tack not really on, and Williams there just bringing his bow down, building a little bit of speed. And that really just meant that Price having to tack right back away to keep clear. And you know what, I think that was a mistake from Price. I think that ultimately ended up costing him the lead.
Yeah, it's a very fine line between trying to put your boat in front of your competitor and actually just sailing a bit more expansive. And we saw, you know, the split did come back to actually benefit him in some way, because he got right back in it here at the top mark. Unfortunately, though, with the breeze being up, it's very hard to roll people in the jibe, and Price set himself up for it, but just wasn't able to convert that manoeuvre. And you know, Ian Williams had a pretty easy run after he rounded that top mark in front.
Well, he picked his jibe and he came through the line, and Williams closed it out. But as we've said a few times, and we'll say it one more, Price really arriving on this World Match Racing Tour in that match.
So congratulations, Price, for sailing well, but the team that sailed better was Ian Williams, 6-time world champion. He's on the water waiting for us. Simon?
So Ian Williams out onto the water. Wow, what a match that was. Where is this Harry Price guy come from? That was a real nip and tucker.
Well, I think he is talking to you, Simon, but we can't hear him.
You want me to talk?
There we go.
I'll say something. Well, yeah, great race for Team JC Pindar. Really pleased to get through 3-1. Those guys, we knew they were going to come at us. They had good practice yesterday with however many races they had, 4 or 5 races yesterday. But I feel like we're improving slowly, and we're starting to have to pick our game up going into the quarterfinals.
And Ian, you know, Harry Price really sort of arriving on this tour. You know, it's great to see these young guys arriving like this.
Is it?
I was wondering.
It is great to see these guys coming onto the tour and pushing us hard, and it just means we have to up our game a little more.
Good stuff. Well, listen, great racing out there on the water, and good luck into the quarterfinals.
Thanks, mate. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, they definitely did up their game enough to move on into the quarterfinals.
And you know what? You know, GAC Pindar sailed really well there. That wasn't a, you know, Price, you know, sailed out of his skin. I think the scoreline, I think the right team advancing through in terms of the overall performance. And now we have the overall scoreboards as they stand, and we're starting to wrap things up here into the quarterfinals. First at the top, Ian Williams advancing 3-1 over newcomer Harry Price onto the World Match Racing Tour. Dak Hammer in that bloodbath of a battle against Matt Jerwood yesterday went through 3-2. And then Phil Robertson advancing 3-1 over 1350 Racing's Nevin Slow. Taylor Canfield really destroying Mons Homburg despite a really tight final race to advance through into his quarterfinal. And then David Gilman making short shrift of Magenta 32 and Sally Barco, the all-female team here on this World Match Racing Tour. Chris Steele here in the commentary booth, but he was out on the water yesterday where he dispatched Johnny Berntsen, another Swedish team, Flux, out of the competition. And then Peter Jan Posma, sailing team ML, advancing over Torvar Murski 3-1 in what was another very closely fought battle. Posma really bringing his A game here to Marstrand. And then finally Jan Guichard, French multi-hull champion, advancing 3-0 over Sam Gilmore and Neptune Racing.
So that gives you your scores overall. And now we'll take a look at the road to the final. The top 8 will move on tomorrow. Only 4 will go on into the semifinals, winning their match again. First to win 3, best of 5, and then the final decided Saturday here in Marstrand, Sweden. Who will it be? Well, we're going to have to see. Once again, I'm Tucker Thompson with Simon Shaw and Chris Steele. Thank you very much for joining us. More action to come as the GKSS Match Cup Sweden continues here in Marstrand. We'll see you tomorrow.